welcome back to Night Owl Movie Talk, keeping you up on all the latest movie news, or at least the stuff I want to talk about. And for those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I'm not only interested in just movies and movie history, I'm also interested in business and how the money gets made in movies and who owns the movies I love. I like to know, basically all the wheelings and dealings of the bigwigs without ever being close enough to it to get any on me, For those of you who watched my Flash trailer, you probably know I'm real interested in this Discovery Plus HBO merger thing. It's not really a merger. Discovery bought HBO. My mind's blown. And like, how does Discovery own all of Warner Brothers and HBO and all the TNT, TBS, all that? Like, how? How did Discovery win in that game of, chess? So I know how it is. It's low overhead. Their shows cost nothing to make. So that's why, Warner Brothers costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make a movie, but some people fishing in Alaska or whatever cost the price of cameras and people willing to, be paid very little for their work. So with this HBO Max merger thing or whatever, Discovery Plus came out right away, and they've already started making new changes to what HBO has going on. And they've started pulling some stuff off of HBO Max to try to save money, bandwidth and all that. So there was a rebranding meeting coming up, and we all kind of knew it was coming. So this past week, they had a big announcement. They did the thing, the Steve Jobs bit where they just walk around on stage and pontificate, and they probably wore like the little Janet Jackson, Bobby Brown, My Prerogative. Janet Jackson wore them in Rhythm Nation. That's what it was. Anyways, the Burger King drive-through headset, and they walk around and they talk about, how great their market, corporate branding, flywheel, synergy. They use all the corporate speak. It's very clean and sanitized, but it's also just mind-numbing. It's like a guitar music gently played over like a babbling brook. So, but I was interested because they did do a few things to try to pump themselves up and make it seem like Discovery is really going to be handling how they're going to, their new HBO endeavor is really going to kick butt, because they have to figure out how they're going to make the money back that they spent on HBO. Plus, they want to like put their brand on it and be like, look how much better we did. We ended up buying them because they were sucking, but now we've made them even more awesome, which is ridiculous because HBO is like a prestige brand. It's a boutique cable network that people get special, and then the stuff on there is kind of like, yeah, I've got enough to pay a little bit extra for my shows, so it kind of has an elitist quality to it. So HBO's got a real good business model. Meanwhile, Discovery, like I said, I associate them with like just reality TV, the cheapest possible stuff, lots of true crime, which I'm all for. That's always cool. But ultimately, no, they have a real low brand approval. They're like Walmart or whatever. They're getting it done and they make all the money everywhere more than anybody else, but they're just low approval rating. So now that Discovery owns HBO, they've kind of been like questions of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, is Discovery going to just try to like get the rub from HBO and be like, see, look, we're important? Or what, are they going to maybe even get rid of HBO? There's a chance that they may keep the cable channels, the TNT and the TBS, and I don't remember what else was it. I got it here. Food Network, TLC, HGTV, Discovery ID, TNT, Adult Swim, TBS, and more. The dreaded "and more" is like, that means either those are things that we just don't care about. I think like True TV is probably in there and stuff. Anyway, so the new bigwig, the people who own HBO, the Discovery ID, HBO Plus, Max conglomerate, this guy's David Zaslav. And all I've heard, I don't follow CEOs, all right? I know that if your stock is doing well, people like that CEO. If they make good decisions and the stock does even better, people love that CEO. So when Zaslav came in, I've kept hearing he's like really impressive. He makes smart cuts. He doesn't hurt the product, but he knows how to actually like spend money properly, as opposed to a lot of these other businesses like Disney Plus and Netflix, where they've just way overspent. Like right now, Amazon Prime is way overspending on a bunch of stuff. but their business model is to get you to buy Amazon Prime. So the more people they get to sign up for Amazon Prime, they're fine with losing money on Thursday Night Football and all of that stuff, right? Um, but when you're Disney Plus or Netflix or some of the other like buy us for a month channels, um, those people, they can't afford to spend so much money that they can't ever make it back on customer subscriptions. And that's where those two channels have gotten at this point. So now Disney Plus has a new CEO, and HBO got themselves into the same trouble with the spending with prestige television, Game of Thrones, and all that, Last of Us, and all that. It costs a lot of money to make those shows, but they also have they're evergreen. People watch Sopranos now still. They're still making money off that. The Wire, they're still making The Wire money. So that's part of the thing. But as where Netflix probably isn't making Sense9 money anymore. People I watched season 1 of Stranger Things and really, really enjoyed it, and then I never saw any of the other seasons, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. So that's not that show isn't making me keep Netflix. The only thing that's making me keep Netflix is I love movies and I need weird stuff in the middle of the night to, keep me entertained. Ooh, hey, a new true crime documentary on Netflix. What do I need Discovery Plus for? Um, so Zaslav comes on for HBO Max and he explains that they're going to rebrand HBO Max, the service channel, and HBO Max has a real high approval rating, in my opinion. Like I've never really heard anybody talk bad about it. It's Disney Plus is a very generic interface. It looks a lot like Hulu, and that's why they own Hulu. Disney does, because they needed all that technology from that to set up their Disney Plus. That's why now people are saying that Disney Plus might spin off Hulu to somebody. Like they might try to sell it to Apple or whoever, maybe Netflix, because Netflix maybe needs to get into the live TV business and to save them, and Hulu's already infrastructure is already set up. So now with YouTube getting into the like trying to replace cable game, that's why they went and got the direct the football package for NFL football, Sunday Ticket. That's what it's called, right? Whatever. I don't have direct TV, so I'm not familiar with that package. So anyways, I got off on a sidetrack tangent of all these different CEOs and all the stuff they're trying to do to make money with their products and how they're trying to make money back that they lost during the pandemic. So between the pandemic and between buying HBO, Discovery's really going to have to configure some things. So HBO Max is being converted to Max. Okay. Isn't the whole thing that everybody would want to get out of their product is HBO? Like Max is essentially Max is Cinemax. It's the same logo and same font and everything is Cinemax. So it's HBO Max, like, the ultimate. And that's kind of what they're saying. They're like, okay, well, let's drop HBO from the HBO Max and just call it Max now. And that's like got critics everywhere like, what in the hell? Why would they do that? That's, the branding there is HBO. That's where the money is. So I wanted to make sure I had this corporate speak ready for this one dude, the head of streaming for Warner Brothers, I believe it was. Uh, let's see here. This is classic corporate gobbledygook. He says, HBO is not TV. HBO is HBO. It needs to stay that way, which is why we will privilege it in the product experience and also not push it into the breaking point by forcing it to take on the full breadth of this new content proposition had we kept the name and service brand. And by doing so, we'll better elevate and showcase our unparalleled array of other content and brands that will be key to broadening the appeal of this enhanced product. You, sir, are a BS artist. That is magnificent. Wow. That's You can read that. I've had to read that like 5 times to try to figure out what exactly is it they're saying there, because I think that's probably the mystery to why is HBO being dropped from the HBO name being dropped from HBO Max. Because what I just did there is what everybody's going to be afraid of. It's like, it's just called Max now. Isn't that only Cinemax? Where'd HBO go? Is HBO still on there? So from a business standpoint, a lot of people are like, this is dumb. They shouldn't do this. So I wrote down 3 reasons why I think, and the one I think most of all. So first, I think that what most people think is that Discovery is trying to make a power brand move. Like right now, HBO is the crown jewel of their whole empire of all those channels I read off and all that Discovery stuff. So by lessening HBO, they can kind of make Discovery Plus rise up. Like when I was a kid, there was Nike and there were Air Jordan, but they were the same company. Nike owned Air Jordan, but eventually the Jordan Jumpman brand became a bigger deal than the Nike swoosh. So I think that's kind of what this is going on here. Discovery Plus is trying to make a play to be like the power brand. They want people to recognize Discovery the same way I say Warner Brothers, they want Discovery to be that. They want to be an overarching brand that we all recognize. And it's got real good corporate generic name to it, like Endeavor or whatever. What does that mean? It's very vague. Nexus. Okay, what am I getting into with this? You don't want to know. Um, so the Discovery Power brand would then like overtake HBO. And HBO and all it would just blend in with TNT and all these others, and it would be a thing that people pay for to get. The other idea, they wanted to maybe keep the value of the HBO name good because they're getting ready to make HBO Max, now Max, a crappier website with less stuff on it. So, you know, I, I I think that's very possible. Like, they're getting ready to cut a whole bunch of money and save, like on bandwidth and how much, whatever. They're already changing their pricing plans, I see. They have a three-tier pricing plan. There's the $9.99 with ads. Then there's the one I have, the third tier, the middle tier, the $15.99 per month, and that's decent. That's what I need. That's all I do fine with that. That's all I got. And apparently there's getting ready to be an ultimate ad-free for $19.99. What does that mean? Does that mean that now in the middle tier I have, there's getting ready to be like banner ads on the side, or like how on YouTube they're really smart. They put the videos, and then in the videos, somewhere where the thumbnails are, they'll just stick an ad. So while you're looking, kind of like how Instagram does. It's a slick new move. So is HBO going to start doing that? I think Peacock does some. I don't hang out on Peacock anymore. It's a weird channel. So if they make the website like a cheaper whatever experience, then that would seem like they would get rid of Discovery Plus, which is already their streaming service that the Discovery Channel and them own. No, they're keeping that as well. That's a $7.99 tier. The third option is an overarching brand, which is like the all the channels need to be equal. Like right now, as I said, HBO's like a crown jewel in all of their stuff that they own. So everything beneath it seems slightly lesser than because it is, but they figure if they drop HBO and get it down, that makes the other brands come up because they're equal to HBO. And I think that's kind of maybe the idea because when I do go on HBO Max, they have sub channels on there. They have Adult Swim and some other stuff. I think DC Channel is on there, all the superhero stuff and all these subheadings. And I never go into those. I only see the HBO Max stuff. So I think that's one of the problems, if you had to identify a problem in HBO Max, is that some of the little sub channel headings that live in that HBO website just don't ever get explored because HBO is enough. But if you make it, max, and it's, max being the max of everything, and then you put these sub channels, the Cinemax, the HBO, the whatever, all the documentaries, and then maybe if you acquired something, or like if you moved HBO out, you would have just an overarching channel still existing for those. You know what I mean? Like if you have HBO Max still and you sell HBO to Apple or whoever, then suddenly what are you going to do? Have to rebrand then? Then everybody's gonna be mad at you. But if you're rebranded now, you're kind of safe from that later. Um, it's funny with the rebrand. I believe it comes next month, sometime in May. I think the 23rd or whatever. But when that comes, they say you're going to log in, and it should just be a seamless portal transfer over from the old HBO Max too. So just like all the Fire Sticks and stuff are supposed to work. But they say some customers will have to go through a two-step verification to get just back online, and it's seamless and everybody won't have any trouble. HBO Max becomes Max. That little two-step verification, like, asterisk they threw in there, that to me feels like we're going to try to shake out some of the fleas in the password sharing game. Because I know that's one of Netflix's big ways to try to get some of their money they're losing back is to get rid of the people who are sharing passwords. So some of the folks are going to bump into a two-step verification thing that comes up. It's like, I'm sure you are. So, be on the lookout for that sometime around May. That, if you're a person who's sharing passwords or whatever, you might get kicked out. Okay, but with all these big changes they're now laying on people and they're rolling out, of course there's going to be a bunch of people like me who are like, I'm real interested in all this stuff. Like what everything I just laid on you is real interesting. Why are you changing the name? Or is there going to be sales coming? How are you going to get the money back? What exactly are you cutting? How's the stock going to, if the stock starts to dip, what are you going to do then? If the stock starts to go up, are you going to put more money into things? What's up? So the way they buffer past all this like corporate stuff up front with the Burger King headphones and all that is then they just roll out all the new shows. Like, same with, like I say, the Apple products. It's like, okay, we've given you all your corporate speak. Now here's all the stuff that you actually will distract you about, and you'll forget all the business stuff we threw up front. So the shows they're hitting them with is they're gonna have a new Big Bang Theory show, which I'm not a fan. Simon Helberg was once very nice to me on Twitter, so that's the extent of my Big Bang Theory fandom. Other than that, Bazinga, I guess. I don't know. They're gonna have another Game of Thrones spin-off, The Hedge Knight. So I'm at this point, Game of Thrones shows are kind of like Star Wars to me. They keep jerking my chain. They're gonna say, "Oh, this show's coming out." Never mind, this show's not coming out. Okay, we've got 5 new spin-offs going. No, 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 no. So right now, I think there's supposed to be a Jon Snow show. There's a second edition of the House of the Dragon, and then I guess this Hedge Knight stuff is probably from the Dunk and Egg books. I don't know, whatever. So the Game of Thrones stuff, I just don't trust until it shows up. Like it'll be here next week. Other than that, no, I don't believe any of it. Um, they're going to make a show about the Conjuring universe or based off the Conjuring universe. They're specifically saying the Conjuring, the Devil Made Me Do It universe. So that makes me think it's people who commit murders and crimes because they're possessed. But I don't know. Either way, I don't know if what's Vera Farmiga and them are out. It doesn't have anything to do with them. Patrick, what's his name? They're all gone. So if they're gonna have the oh God, why am I drawing a blank on those people's names? The damn hucksters who rip people off. Ed and Lorraine Warren. Stan and Lorraine Warren? Ed and Lorraine Warren, those people. I don't know if the show's going to feature them or if it's going to be like a spin-off show of people who work with them or what, but it's supposed to live in the Conjuring universe, but they were very specific to say the Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. Also, there's a new Harry Potter show that's going to take a decade long to come out. So I don't know how they're going to do that. That's going to be forever, I guess. But I know that that's one of the things that the Zaslav wants to do is make money off the stuff that should be making money but isn't. So like they know comic books are going away and the only people who buy comic books are collectors. So they want to try to push the comic books before there's no more money ever to be made on comic books. And I noticed at the end of the new Flash trailer, there's a commercial for the comic books. Like, be sure to buy the Flashpoint comic books. Um, so one of the things he wants to take advantage of, Zaslav, is all of Warner Brothers' kid-friendly property because there's so much money to be made there that isn't being made. When's the last time Bugs Bunny did anything good? It's, LeBron James Space Jam. Oof, yikes. So there's going to be new Bugs Bunny stuff. They're going to do Tiny Toons, Luniversity. They're going to do, just all sorts of Warner Brothers cartoon stuff. So the fact that they're going to do this Harry Potter kids show, I think most people who like Harry Potter are probably older than younger. I don't know. Um, Maybe that's what they're hoping for, is that it's a perfect quadrant movie, that they'll be just scary enough for adults and cool enough for adults, but, still childlike and interesting fantasy adventure for children, right? Um, Also, there's a bunch of people whining because J.K. Rowling, the writer of the Harry Potter books, she's been online and come out, with her opinions about trans people or whatever.
Oh my
So
God, who
some
the
folks who don't
hell
care at all, and there are some
cares?
folks who are very upset and don't want her, the cancel culture stuff. So they think that Warner Brothers shouldn't make this because of her views on trans people. And when asked about this, Zaslav said that's a very online discussion. And I kind of thought that was a good way of saying it, like, okay, well, we're just going to try to ignore the Twitter sphere that everybody else is so afraid of and just move forward and see if anybody comes out and tries to pick at us or whatever. So keep your eye on that. I think that they're just going to say, screw you guys. A decade worth of Harry Potter shows will probably last longer than the current cultural revolution, I would think. That's what they're betting on. Um, Oh, let's see here. There's going to be a Kate Winslet and a Robert Downey Jr. show. Kate Winslet already had like a little mini series on HBO that's done well. A couple of them, I think. And so now Robert Downey Jr. is going to get into that. There's going to be another True Detective show because that last time they were good. I think because season two was it? Wasn't as good, and then season three people quit watching, but was supposedly good. I didn't see season three. See, I'm a classic example. Um, so they're going to bring back season four of True Detective. So that's time is a flat circle, bro. Um, then they're going to also have the Penguin show. That's the one that all the people are excited about. That's one people have been asking me about. That's the one all my friends on YouTube have been posting videos about. Everybody's hyped about the Penguin show. It's uh, the Colin Farrell Penguin from the Matt Reeves Batman, the one that was just out with Robert Pattinson as Batman. There's a small portion of the movie, like the Penguin's just sort of a background character. He's not as important in the whole story. So now he's going to get his big thing. To me, it looks like a Sopranos show. Like they're basically just going to make, the Penguin be Tony Soprano, and it's going to be, a complicated anti-hero. It's not going to be cut and dry. It's going to be despicable people doing despicable things, which I don't know if I always like, because that Joker movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. But I'm just not sure it belongs in the Batman universe. Like, it almost makes me empathize with Joker. Or like, I shouldn't. The Joker should be a person who scares the hell out of me because they're just so unpredictable and wild. But if you explain, like, life just beat them down, man, it's like, well, I don't really want that totally. I think that's one of the reasons the Star Wars prequels struggled. It's like, it's hard to empathize with evil, man. It's like, yeah, it used to be cool. It's like, I don't care. You're evil now, jackass. So, I don't know. I'm interested in seeing this, anti-hero show. But then how am I going to watch a season or two of The Penguin and catch myself kind of rooting for the Penguin, and then he bumps into Batman in a movie, or there's little talk of whether or not Batman's going to turn up in that show or not. I would assume he kind of has to. I don't know. Um, also, going back to the kid thing, the final show they were pushing and putting out that had people interested and had me interested is Secrets of the Mogwai. And that will be available on whatever day it is, May 23rd, for the switch over. So as soon as the new Max shows up, that will immediately be for watch on the new Max. They've been trying to get this out for a while. Some of the animation stills I've seen kind of make me think I'm not going to like it. And some of the animation stills I think maybe like, that's scary as hell. I don't know if little kids can watch that or not. Like the teeth on the evil gremlins are scary. But a lot of the other animations very big-eyed and very kind of surrealistic. That's not always my thing, but I'm sure I'll watch a lot of it. So that's cool. But they also said that HBO Max's old system of where stuff would be out at the theater and there would be a super quick turnaround to get to the now Max channel is still going to go on. So this summer, when The Flash comes out, it will be a quick turnaround back to now the new rebranded Max. So it sounds like a lot of business as usual, but we'll see because there's a real chance I think they're going to cheapen stuff by the time we actually see this new Max. But I don't know. I'd kind of like to know which of those shows I'd mentioned, if any of those interest you. Um, I think that I bet my crowd probably was into the Penguin show and the Gremlin show, and may or may not be into the Game of Thrones show. I know I am, but if any of those are something you're into, if you're still watching this long, you're usually a cool people. So let's see. Or also, if you maybe are interested in keeping up this discussion and moving into talking more about The Flash, well, put that right here, and you can have that video to watch and just keep this whole Warner Brothers HBO Max quandary and how the gossip around it before this, the prequel, damn it. All right, otherwise, you have a good one, and I'll catch you later.